Stream Elements says. Dicebaggery is now live streaming Just Chatting, Draw and Chat Pokemon inspired TTRPG. Solo the Nerd says. Time to let the dice out of the bag, release the creatures.
Hello! How's it going, Solo? Anyways, this is Dicebag, artist, game designer, world builder, and occasional VTuber. And we're doing another art stream, obviously. But before that, is my audio okay? I had some weird things going on before the stream, and I thought I had my audio issues figured out long ago, but for some reason things were looking kind of weird. So I'm not sure if it's actually coming through all right. So how does it be? How do I sound? I think I got it worked out, but just checking. Because it was like OBS said my mic was like peaking, like completely the entire bar was red.
Solo the Nerd says, audio sounds okay right now.
Alright, that's good to know. Yeah, the entire bar was red just from like the audio from the desktop, which was not anywhere like really close to the mic or anything, or especially all that loud, and it was still freaking peaking everything. And so I tried turning that down and putting some filters on it that I thought were on there to begin with, but were not functioning for some reason. And then it like started picking up everything. Like it started picking up things I couldn't hear. It had like some weird watery sound going on in the background, and I was like, what the hell is... what's it even picking up? But I think I got it worked out, so we should be good. Oh yeah, we got some stuff to work on today. We got, let's see, let me bring it up. Okay, wait a second, where is the thing I'm looking at, trying to look at rather? Oh, okay, I found it. It's hard to keep track of things when you've got 3 monitors. I've got to do another Creature Codex video soon, so I'm gonna be working out a sketch for one of them. We need some pictures of this guy, all right? So that's the first thing we're gonna do. I'm gonna sketch out a picture of Siger here. I got some references to help me out from ChatGPT here. It got surprisingly close, I gotta admit, but obviously that's not the same thing. So we're gonna use this kind of pose as a reference and the scenery and whatnot, and we're gonna replicate this but in the correct art style. With the correct character. So that's what we're gonna start with. Then I also have the line art from a few weeks ago.
This stream has become the highlight of my Saturday nights, especially since I had to deal with a major headache all day.
Oh, well, that's nice to hear from my side. Not that you had the headache, but that my stream is the highlight of your week, or your Saturday at least. Yeah, so this... We've also got... You remember the sketch I did of the trading with tribesfolk that I did a few weeks ago? I actually got the line art back from that. So once we get this sketched up, I'll move on to that and hopefully finish it, but probably not because it's a pretty big piece. But we'll get as far as we can. Anyways, let me check out this reference here. We can start sketching up. So, head is about like so. And then... maybe more like so. Like so. Like so, like so. Apparently that's my catchphrase. Uh-oh. Opacity is really low on the eraser here. Alright. Then we got kind of this going on. Probably need a little bit of a bigger head on this guy, since he's more cartoony than what the reference actually shows. And let's see. The weird thing about cats is like their forelimbs are kind of weirdly proportioned. They have short biceps, but their forearms are pretty long. Animal anatomy can be pretty tricky. Let's see.
Solo the Nerd says, Lixa sounds like the cry of a Pokemon or creature.
Like so. Maybe I am one. Let's see. You know, I don't typically consider creatures to be like Pokemon in that they repeat their names when they vocalize. I do have some idea of what some of them might sound like. But it's kind of useful to have as a just a mental idea of that when you're trying to like roleplay them too, and describe what the creatures are doing when they're attacking you or whatever, or reacting if they're a friendly creature.
Solo the Nerd says, you are definitely a creature, at least by D&D standards.
Isn't everything pretty much a creature by D&D standards? Everything's a creature by Magic the Gathering standards, I know. Not with a Y, though. Not creature with a Y. Let's see. We might have to actually like look up some actual pictures of big cats for this one, because I'm not too sold on the actual validity of the image I'm referencing here as far as anatomy is concerned. Also, it's just not a one-to-one ideal recreation of what I'm looking for. So I have to take a few liberties here.
Solo the Nerd says, monstrosities, and I think some kinds of demons, are not considered creatures.
Weird. Alright, that should be about like it is. I've been doing a lot of thinking about some of the lore behind like creatures and whatnot. Mainly because I'm working on a bunch of like ancient ruin generation rules, dungeon generation in general. And I kind of want to have a way to like incorporate the what did you call that? I don't want to say lore.
Solo the Nerd says.
Specifically, like...
One audio note, Geronimo sounds quiet, like he's hiding outside of mic range.
Really? How's the music sound? Is that low? You know what? I think one of the problems I'm having is that this front leg is a little too far back.
Solo the Nerd says. Music level is a nice, quiet ambience. Maybe a tad quieter than normal.
Alright, I'm turning the desktop audio up a little bit. Hopefully that'll help.
Daladakarai Pop says. That's some gremlin energy pose.
No, it's not a gremlin, it's a big cat ready to pounce. Hello Dale, how's it going? See, this is gonna be a Siger, right? Let's see, what do its ears look like?
Solo the Nerd says. Dale, a La Cheers reference.
Cheers reference. Man, I'm not well versed in a sitcom culture for that. Okay, Dale, I see what you mean. Still, the reason
Solo
this
the
looks
Nerd
like a
says.
goblin is because it's
Here's my AI attempt.
human-bodied.
Neurum.
Murum. I don't think it worked out so well. Let's see. This space needs to be moved more like over here. Look at that. I resisted the urge to say like so.
Solo the Nerd says.
Are you proud of me?
AI failure to convey the right tone.
Geronimo is still in his emo arc too, by the way. You can hear he's got the low voice. He sounds
Daladakarai Pop
depressed.
says. I know the exact mental image I had and that was it. Kohate says. Wave.
Hello, Kohat. The gang's all here, I see. Except for Evergrade and Ponyboy. How's it going, boys? Alright. That looks a little more, little less like an actual gremlin.
Trying to say Norm, that's a character from Cheers that everyone greets when he enters the bar.
Yeah, that's probably not gonna work with Geronimo.
Says, Evergrades in the Soyjack mines. Kohate says, why does Geronimo sound like this?
I don't know. I speculate he's gaining some kind of sentient awakening. Possibly tied to my recent uses of AI, but I don't know for sure. He might be turning evil, I'm not sure.
Daladakarai Pop says, he has a cold.
He's got a robo-cold. You know, maybe the crystal horn shouldn't be that.
The kids say, a bug. Kohate says, uneasy face.
Do the kids say that? I thought that was everybody said that. Called it a bug. Oh.
Solo the Nerd says, would the female version of this voice be called Garanima? Just replace the OS with AS. Daladakarai Pop says, it's a tech joke. Stream Elements says, good evening, mortal humans.
Oh, a tech joke, I see.
To Dicebag and say hello.
Oh no, Ponyboy isn't here to say hello. Oh yeah, I think I have disabled the Pokemon Community Gummy notifications successfully. So we shouldn't be interrupted by those anymore. Ooh.
Solo the Nerd says, allow me to be a more polite replacement.
That works, I guess. It's almost like he's right here with us.
Daladakarai Pop says, wait, new TDS voice. How does it say names this time?
I think it's the same voice, it's just deeper for some reason. You know, I think the head might be actually significantly too small in this case.
Daladakarai Pop says, damn it.
He looks like a freaking, he looks way too beefy. Not mean. Maybe that's just because I put that much detail into his musculature. I think we need to...
Pop says, he's such a gremlin, LOL.
Well, to be honest, most cats are pretty gremlin-esque.
Daladakarai Pop says, like he's been caught trying to steal a baby in the dead of night. Kohate says, Muscle Cat LFG. Solo the Nerd says, the Psychic line is my favorite creature family. Probably because I love cats, but can't own one due to my allergies.
I too am allergic to cats. Not like severely so, but annoyingly so. And he wasn't caught trying to steal a baby in the dead of night. He was caught trying to teleport something off of the shelf. As psychics in their ilk are wont to do. Let's see. Freaking animal anatomy, man. You spend years trying to draw humans correctly, and then then you have to draw an animal, and it's like,
to teleport onto the top of the shelf, but broke it and slammed it to the ground.
You know what, Dale? That doesn't look anything like what I'm drawing. I don't know what that is. Or the Russian script that accompanies it. Is Dale a Russian asset? Let's see. I gotta give him his little fluffs on his tail. Something like that. What else does this thing have? This is actually coming along quite quickly, I've noticed. Maybe animal anatomy ain't so bad.
Daladakarai Pop says, TBF, sometimes I get moments where I can read Cyrillic very poorly.
It must be in your blood, or you're one of those Manchurian candidate people.
Dale snuck the image off of Ponyboy's communist database.
There's a good one. I need to do more like meme images of creatures like this. Or they're just doing like animal things that are funny.
Daladakarai Pop says, I think it's just easier to read Cyrillic when you're drunk, TBF.
That makes sense. It was probably created by people who were drunk.
Solo the Nerd says, couldn't tell if that image was a dog or cat.
It was a cat. Yeah, there's always good pictures of cats doing goofy things that are silly. I've already got a few memeable Psykit pictures. Oh yeah, this one. And this one. But these aren't very good for like lore videos. One of these days I'll have to do a meme drawing video, or stream rather. Now one thing they got is like these glowy whiskers. Okay, Dale. Okay, this is a good one. I like the little hedgehog drinking out of their bowl. They're not sure what to do about him. Where do I want these to end?
Daladakarai Pop says.
Probably
Wait, do
something
you
like
have a
that.
hedgehog creature yet?
I do not have a hedgehog creature yet. I don't think. Nah, no, I don't.
Solo the Nerd says. That looked like a scene of a Tom and Jerry cartoon. Daladakarai Pop says.
There's another good place
Where
to
the
get
rodents
references. Where are the rodents at? Arbo is a rodent, isn't he? Technically. Whoops.
Daladakarai Pop says. Arbo is a Naruto BG character.
He's not Rock Lee. We already established that he's an Ed, Edd n Eddy character. Is the resident furry of the cul-de-sac. All right. This is Champa, by the way, from Dragon Ball Super.
Solo the Nerd says. Did a quick Google search. It says that squirrels are part of the Rodentia order. So, yes, squirrels are rodents.
See, Dale.
Daladakarai Pop says. Het het. Solo
Alright.
the Nerd
This is
says.
just his
He's
positioning
like,
here.
I know I'm fat. So what?
He's like, you did this to me, Karen. You keep feeding me and I keep eating. Why don't you get me some diet food? You want me to be fat?
Daladakarai Pop says. I know squirrels are rodents, I just wanna see different creatures.
Well, Dale, designing new creatures takes time, and I already have, like, enough of them for the first release. So it's kind of superfluous to continue designing them when I haven't finished the everything for the ones that already have been designed. Let's see, what else is there?
Daladakarai Pop says.
You know what? He might be the only.
Yeah, but hedgehog creature.
I've still got the electric jackalope. That's also a rodent. We've got Fluther and Serret. Those are rodents.
Daladakarai Pop says. Draw 50 OCS without finishing any of them.
No! I don't fall for that trap anymore. I'm older and wiser. I keep them locked away in my memory for a rainy day after I've actually finished the current thing I'm working on, you know? It's called discipline, Dale. Something a lot of artists don't have. And that's why I'm here, like, repeatedly going over the same things and fixing minute details in my rough sketch.
The codex already has 116 creatures. That's more than enough for a link release. Daladakarai Pop says.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're certainly old, alright.
And don't forget it. Alright, what's the reference looking like here? I could actually probably shrink this guy down a tad. Have a little more of a background focus. I do want to put the actual branch he's standing on this. Let's see.
Solo the Nerd says. Tried to write 1.0. Geronimo is weird.
Geronimo likes to think anything that has a decimal or a period in it is a link for some reason. I have not fixed that little issue, if it even is fixable. But for those joining us later, you'll notice that there hasn't been a single Pokemon Community Gummy reference or notification. Because I turned that off because it's getting annoying. And also, I'm kind of giving up on Twitch in general. And also Kick. Kick has had like nothing going for it. I'm back on freaking X streaming over there this time. As my 5th place. Not that anybody watches over there. But there's probably more lurkers since I actually have like several hundred followers on that one. Alright, let's add some knots in this here.
Twitch is uber stinky. Good decision.
Well, I'm still streaming over there. I'm just not giving a damn. If Twitch wants to gatekeep its useful features so hard, I'm not gonna worry about it.
Solo the Nerd says, would you ever consider using the Pokemon mechanic of shiny creatures to differentiate special bosses?
I've got better things than that, honestly. However, it's basically just like a flavor description, so I'm not really worried about making something like that. It'd be an easy thing to just kind of homebrew in. I have thought about making like rare creature breeds and stuff like that you can get as rewards. And that's basically really easy to do because all I gotta do is replace one of the classes with a different class. And those could be like especially unique rewards or encounters that you want to have. And it also can work into a breeding system, which I'm intending to develop at some point.
Patty's Parlor says, what up, might bags?
Hey there, Patty. How's it going? I see Geronimo didn't get D-bags right.
Can't stay too long. Got to play Warframe with my son.
Ah.
Daladakarai Pop says, oh hate.
Wait. That...
Patty's Parlor says, brie eating. Gross.
What's the point of raising magical creatures if you can't, like, selectively breed them into crazy other variations, just like in real life?
Daladakarai Pop says, what system?
Why are we getting weird about this? Pokemon has it. Damn near every freaking monster collecting game that has any kind of depth has some kind of breeding system to it.
Daladakarai Pop says, which creature is the Vaporeon of the creatures world?
There isn't one.
Solo the Nerd says,
unless the fans make one.
Sounds very interesting. What kind of roles would that entail?
It'd probably be a profession, which I have not put up on the website yet, but professions are basically the crafting mechanic. So this would just let you craft creatures, basically. You know what? This is probably good as is. I might have put a little too much detail on it. Actually, I think
Daladakarai
this
Pop
should be
says,
more like so.
Okay Kohate, there's E per first prompt.
Why are you always trying to get involve Kohet in this? He tries to be a good boy, and you're all like, well, you're the degenerate.
Kohate says, wait, what's my what? I was tuned out. Patty's Parlor says, oh, breeding the creatures, not breeding with the creatures.
No, not breeding with the creatures.
Kohate says, oh no. Patty's Parlor says, that's more Christianly. Daladakarai Pop says, you seen what he does? I mean, he plays roguelikes.
He does play roguelikes. That is pretty degenerate.
Kohate says, I'm gonna have to rewatch the stream you.
You don't really have to.
Patty's Parlor says, I knew what you meant, still funny. Solo the Nerd says, tried to answer Dale's question, but the effort is not worth the time.
Alright, I need to stop nitpicking at this little thing because it's good enough for Patron to take it and put the lines on it. You know what though? Let's go ahead and draw like... Nah, we'll just leave it like this. I was thinking, oh, I should put like the little design details, like the coloring and the eye details on, but I'm like, Patron can handle that himself. I don't need to make more work for myself. That's what he's for, to make less work for me.
Daladakarai Pop says,
let's see.
Actually, good point. Patron is the resident furry. Solo the Nerd says,
can't deny that.
Looks one half the size it should be.
We'll fix it in post. What should we call this one? You know what? I've been starting to name things after some of the actual powers that these things have. So let's look at the Stalker class and see if there's a name. Let's see, we got Slash, Pounce, Toy with Prey, and Wound and Claw. None of those are particularly great. Let's just call it Ready to Pounce. I have to stop giving them such memey titles because then it confuses me when I try to make a time-lapse video out of them and I have to think of a new title. As I was discussing last night.
Best option is Toy with Prey.
Oh, too late. I already picked Ready to Pounce. I'll save that one here. I do like the ambiance that the AI drew up for the reference. I like the moon in the back and all that. Although it seems like there would probably be a canopy in the way with this thick of brush. Oh well.
Pounce and Trounce.
Pounce and Trounce? No. Alright, let's see. Let's bring up the next one. The big one. Here we go. Now we're gonna have to take all these freaking layers and put them in their own folder. There we go. And we got the cleaned up one Patron did for me. Okay, nice. We got this is looking pretty good. I'm not noticing any flaws. Might not have to do much cleanup on this one. That's looking pretty good. Oh yeah, this one's got Psykid in it too. Doll.
Daladakarai Pop says. Who's the lady? Solo the Nerd says.
Who's the lady?
Big one. I quickly thought more beef mound art, before remembering the trading scene.
Yeah, not beef mounds this time. Here's a little issue. We can't have that in there. It's gonna throw things off.
Stream Elements says. Good evening, mortal humans, make sure you subscribe to Dicebag and say hello.
And this shoulder's looking a little thick on the lines. Nice.
Daladakarai Pop says. Damn. If I get married, I'm calling my wife Beef Mounds.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
Daladakarai Pop says. I'm never getting married.
Not with that attitude.
Solo the Nerd says. Nor should you, even if she agreed to that nickname.
Okay. For some reason, he went and drew this dude's face twice. Alright, we should be good. Now we can start putting down the flats. Time to bring up 100 different references. Where are all these characters? There's Anton. There's Lucas. There's the tribes folk.
Solo the Nerd says.
For to other
Or
layers,
when Pony
okay.
arrives later, be sure to note down this manga title, The Muscle Girl Next Door.
I don't know if I want Ponyboy to know about that. Let's see. You know what? This should probably be more covered. In fact, let's just make it, like, much longer. Since it goes down almost to his knees. It's got some long legs, now that I look at him. Well, I guess his belt is kinda high. Alright, whatever.
Daladakarai Pop says. HM310s. Her face is very mask.
Even Dale doesn't like it. Alright, let's see. Hair. Good thing I gave them both the exact same color scheme.
Solo the Nerd says. I know about this manga because we have the book at my work. It's a nice wholesome slice of life title.
Okay, I see what you mean, Dale. He's posting images. Who knows, Ponymoy might still be into that. He likes manly women after all.
Daladakarai Pop says. Dragon's Crown still had one of the best muscle mommies.
She definitely wouldn't be mistaken for a dude. What was I looking for? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I thought I used a different color for the centers here, but apparently not.
I did not mean to start the crass ball rolling. I'm so sorry.
Just let it fizzle out. Just let it fizzle out. Ponyboy's not here to really get everything wound up. Let's see. We'll have to go back through on a second pass and clean up the corners and everything. Okay, hold on a second. What does this actually look like? Okay. Blue in the middle. There we go. And then the armor is the same color.
Solo the Nerd says. Armored Boy is looking super pasty. Was that intentional?
He's a noble. He didn't get out much as a child. Yeah, I don't think we need this line right here, to be honest. TBH. Whoops. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. So many little freaking details. And we're gonna need to get some of this. There we go.
Solo the Nerd says. As they say, the devil's in the details.
That do be kind of the most obnoxious part. Let's see. Okay, we need Psychit now. Psychit, where are you at? There he at.
Solo the Nerd says. But in the end, those details make great art that much better.
Actually, in the end, it didn't even matter. At least that's what Linkin Park told me. Back in my day. Oh, I forgot the tail. There we go.
Solo the Nerd says. Still love that blep face on Psychic. He is my good boy, even if he can be a Kelpto.
Psychic's pretty cute. You have to admit. I'm glad I took a second pass at that.
Alright dudes, I hope to see you on the 28th. Let me know how the hangout is going to go down, can't wait. Kohate says. It'd be cool if TDS auto-corrected, to be honest, into TBH.
Alright, we'll see you around, Patty. Yeah, just keep an eye on the Discord. I might ping some people early next week to make sure everybody's still coming.
Misspelled that last word, meant to say klepto.
I didn't even notice that was misspelled. Not gonna lie, to be real with you guys. My brain is engaged in art. I can't think about other things. I'm trying to think about lore things I could talk about with creatures, but it's like, oh, but I also need to do this little thing in the art. No time to think about that. For some reason, filling empty spaces with the fill tool is more brain intensive than some of the other things I do. Yeah, I don't know why.
Daladakarai Pop says. You should lore dump.
I'm trying to think of things I could lore dump.
Daladakarai Pop says. You should character lore dump too. Solo the Nerd says.
I haven't been doing much character thinking.
What psychic lore can you drop?
Psychic lore? I haven't thought about much psychic lore, to be honest. I've been thinking about lore with like the artisans and some of the ancient civilizations I'm trying to flesh out. Like with what do you call it? Claymen. The guys that made those. You know what? I keep forgetting, but I'm gonna pop into the stream room on the Discord just in case one of the boys wants to come in and chat. Let's see. What's a good leather color for this?
Says, what color underwear does Anton wear on a chilly Wednesday?
Dale.
Daladakarai Pop says. No character trivia.
I don't think too much about all that, to be honest. I've been thinking that, like, if the artisans are going to be the Team Rocket, and we could have a reason for them to expand beyond, like, this whole immediate region. And one of those reasons could be that,
Daladakarai Pop says.
What?
It was a random example.
One of those reasons could be that, like,
Daladakarai Pop says. I just want character trivia.
Could be that the, what do you call it? Like, they've got this whole civilization that they're obsessed with, right?
Here comes the critical role joke. What's Anton's mother's maiden name? Daladakarai Pop says. What's their favorite foods? What kind of food is in the creature's world?
Probably beef mounds and whatnot. Maybe some chicken nuggets. You know, the usual stuff. So the artisans are like really deep into looking into this ancient civilization that relied on constructs for pretty much everything, right? And one of the ultimate secrets they're looking for is the creation of a construct creature called the Work of Man, which is an artificial...
Rinds. Solo the Nerd says. Would the crops that farmer plant be affected by the magic in your world?
Probably, but they're looking for the work of man. Or at least how to create one, because they want to remove people's dependence on creatures, and being able to make an artificial mythic creature would be super useful, you know? And I was thinking there might be other places from like the same civilization around other areas who are working towards the same problem, but having different ways to go about it and whatnot. So that could be a way to like justify like new metamorphoses for Clayman for one thing, but also it would let me explore different variations on the concept of a what do you call that? An artificial mythic creature, and just other types of construct creatures in general. One of the creatures I want to make in the future would be based on the concept of an egregore, which if you haven't heard of that, it's like some occult concept where you get a group of people together and you will into existence. You will into existence as a group the some kind of spirit entity that did not exist before. And I thought that would be a cool take to have like a psionic construct that was just like a thought form created by collective willpower of people. And that could be like an alternative take on the work of man style of creature. So we can call it like the thoughts of man or something. That's for in the future. I've also been thinking about ways to like use the random generation mechanics to seed information about these things in the world as you explore the places.
Daladakarai Pop says. The brainchild.
The brainchild? That doesn't... I don't like that one. That one's not so great.
Solo the Nerd says. Maybe a better name for a thought-based construct might be the will of man.
The will of man? That might be good. It kind of mirrors the work of man a little better. And I like the whole idea behind this like kind of campaign plot line. Because it could kind of go either way. Like, you could stop the artisans.
It's okay. No one needs to get that joke.
Well, good. I don't think anybody did. Like, you could stop the artisans from getting to the point of making the thing. You could, like, discover everything about it before them and create the work of man yourself. You could also,
Solo the Nerd says, I think I got the joke, Dale.
If they actually go through with it, then you could have, like, another political entity arise. With the artisans ruling over a section of the world with the work of man. There's a lot of different ways you could take it. Or whatever else kind of mythic creature they cook up in their laboratories. And I'm still not done with the flats. Let's see, get some paper here. What's going on here? I don't think we need this line here.
Daladakarai Pop says, I mean, she's not big, but calling her flat is very rude.
What?
Solo the Nerd says, done with the flats? Sounded like a setup for a Ponyboy liner.
Okay, I get it. The flat colors, you guys, it's the flat colors. I'm not saying she's flat, though. I specifically struck a balance here on this one that wasn't as big as I like them, but still not flat. Let's see, should we just take this, maybe?
Says,
no, that needs something else.
Where's that Spionic telepathy meme picture when we need it, cause we are on the same wavelength, Solo?
There's so many different browns in this piece at this point.
Solo the Nerd says, I'm assuming this game's rating would be T for teen, based on your art style of female characters.
I'm probably shooting even for lower than that. I don't think any of my ladies are particularly risque. Unless fantasy violence would bring it up that far, I don't know. fantasy violence. Let's see, we're gonna take this little section here, kind of make this one a little shorter because it looks like it's not right.
Solo the Nerd says, like how Pokemon is pretty much rated E for everyone. Daladakarai Pop says, I don't think any of the official art edges on Team. If anything, the thing that would get it to the PG-13 rating is the low violence.
Yeah. It's kind of made so that it's, like, kid-friendly. Deliberately so.
Daladakarai Pop says, Pokemon is PG-13 here.
Is it?
Daladakarai Pop
I guess
says,
that's what we should shoot
cause
for
of
then.
violence.
Because of violence,
Daladakarai
okay,
Pop
of
says,
of course.
And gambling.
They cut out the gambling, though.
Stream Elements says, good evening, mortal humans, make sure you subscribe to Dicebag and say hello.
Okay, you know what? I feel like this little piece of the things are kind of superfluous on these few. We're gonna remove that line there.
Daladakarai Pop says, anyways, I've been up since 11 p.m. time to try and actually sleep.
Like you woke up at 11 p.m.?
Solo the Nerd
Freaking
says,
crystals are obnoxious.
good night, Dale. May a beef mound never roll onto your cot.
Oh, I see. That was a goodbye. I didn't understand what you were saying from Geronimo's reading of it. Okay, see you around, Dale. He'll have something to say on the Discord at some random time later. He always does. I'm probably just making these things worse, to be honest.
Daladakarai Pop says, had a nap around 4 p.m. woke up 11. Been to since. Yesterday went to bed around 3 p.m. Ciao.
Okay, Daryl. Okay. What color do we want to make these? Blue, perhaps? Ew, hold on. Had to do things a little bit of the hard way there.
Solo the Nerd says, time zone conversion is weird.
Dude, it's screwed up how many different time zones all my friends are in. Dale's in Australia. I found out yesterday that Kohat's over in Hawaii. Evergrade's an East Coaster. And they all have bad taste in video games. Shaking my head. So hard to organize a bunch of stuff when everyone's strewn around across like 10 different time zones. Okay, maybe this is not quite right. Need to do some more recording for the freaking solo campaign too.
Says, I live in Pennsylvania, so, technically, I am an East Coaster.
Ah. At least East Coast ain't too far away.
Solo the Nerd says.
Just one time zone.
Or maybe a mid-Atlantic coaster.
I am in Central Time, which a lot of people are not in. But it's kind of in the middle of the US, so we're kind of halfway between every single thing out there. I wish we could just use all the same time zone. Alright. Levi over here needs a trim on his cloak.
Kohate says. Huh, I just got back and I'm hearing slander already? Kohate says. You're just lucky none of us are European. Kohate says. I am so far behind in the chat, holy cow.
I don't think
Solo
you
the
were
Nerd
actually
says.
far behind, I think.
Thankfully, I'm only an hour ahead of you.
I
Like
think
TV schedules labeled as 9/8 Central.
I think Rumble chat was just frozen for a second. That's a stupid thing it does. I have to keep all the windows of the chat open, but sometimes they like go dormant on me. Do I have all the gaps filled in? Am I ready to actually start rendering this? There's a small little gap right there.
Kohate says. I was wicked busy, but now I'm back and I get to sit down, enjoy my cinnamon roll and observe DICE render complicated character scenes. Kohate says. Pretty pog tbh. Kohate says. Did you remember to flip your canvas?
It's a little late to
Solo
flip the
Nerd
canvas.
says. The plights of a streamer.
I flipped the canvas anyways, and surprisingly it actually looks pretty alright. Like, I'm not seeing any glaringly obvious issues. Anton looks a tad goofy, but I think there's not much I can do about that unless I do some major corrections. Maybe his head generally could be a little bigger. Let's see. Okay, that's probably about right given the perspective. I think I just drew his body goofy.
Solo the Nerd says, don't all aristocrats look goofy to some degree?
I don't think they're as inbred as some of the real life ones. Arthur Oakthorne probably did not marry his sister.
Brought up by Solo, over there.
You know what might help is if he had a little bit of this. So he looks a little less bulky around the middle. It's always a little weird trying to get armor to look correct. Because it's gotta be like a little
Solo
bigger than the body.
Kohate.
You gotta be a little bigger than the body. Yeah. Okie dokie. Time for shadows. Let's see, multiply layer. Let's do 25 opacity. That's pretty good for a start. Make me a swatch. Now where the hell is the light coming from exactly? That's the question. Maybe it's just kind of coming like from above and from behind the viewer. That way pretty much everybody would be illuminated. We're gonna have to do some tweaks on this stuff.
I forget the lore about the crystals themselves. Are they literally all the same, or can they be different sizes? Kohate says, what is it came from the binding crystals?
What? The crystals don't necessarily have to be the same, but you know, for the purpose of, you know, branding and consistency, I like to make them all the same shape and general size, although that's difficult to achieve because fitting them in the hand is not always easy. Okay, I think we need a little more than 25 opacity on this. Let's go up to 30. Make everything a little bit darker. There are going to be like variations on binding crystals, like special kinds of ones that you can get or make. kind of like great bowls and whatnot.
Kohate says. Ah yes, the Master BA binding crystal, smiley face.
Now we're gonna have lesser binding crystals and basic binding crystals and greater binding crystals. We follow fantasy naming schemes around here.
Solo the Nerd says. That would be too up for any dimension. Kohate says. I like fantasy naming conventions for variants.
That's good because that's what I'm doing.
Kohate says.
Glad you see it my way.
However, if I picked up a lesser BC, I'd be upsetting.
The lesser binding crystals are like the early forms of them. Like that's what you're gonna be finding just normally.
Kohate says. I see the vision.
So if you go to the binding crystal store, most of what they're gonna have is lesser binding crystals. And when you start out, you're gonna be depending on lesser binding crystals.
Kohate says. I go to the binding crystal store, I say, binding crystal seller, sell me your strongest binding crystals. And he says. You can't handle my strongest binding crystals, knave.
Could you even afford the strongest binding
says,
crystals?
I assume there would be a number of skill checks involved in making binding crystals yourself.
That would be part of the artifice profession. Or artificer. Okay, like this entire lower part of his body is probably going to be in shadow.
Says, you spend essence to do it that way, right?
You spend essence in like some basic materials, yeah. And just regular old binding crystals of whatever strength don't have like any particular type requirements. But there's also gonna be like more, what would you call that? Specific variations. Kind of like how Pokemon has like the dive balls and the friend balls and stuff like that. So we'll have some variations that are a little more interesting in terms of what they do and how they do it.
Kohate says, Can't wait to waste all my mats rolling snake eyes repetitively.
Well, the thing is, you can also have your creatures help you with it. In fact, that's probably going to be the main way you do crafting and creatures, is with the help of your creatures. I don't know if you heard me talk about this one, but I've warmed up to the idea of not having, like... Well, I used to have it so that, like... you could harvest essence from your creatures, right? So you could have, like, a steady supply of it. But I figured that would kind of screw up the economy, like, in-world. Like, you'd have people that would just, like, do nothing but farm essence. They'd have huge creature collections, and they'd just farm essence all the time and resell it. And, like, that's a little too advanced, I think, for what I'm going for. I don't want the economy to be that full of crafting materials and stuff. So instead of having you be able to harvest essence from them, I decided that they can help you with the crafting process and contribute basically the equivalent of essence with their help. So that way, like, crafters who want to specialize in certain things would have to have that creatures.
Trade. Kohate says, deity enforced poverty.
It's not about poverty, it's about keeping the players from doing crazy, stupid things that would break the game. And also making a coherent world. Yeah, think about these things, because the players can just go about and do whatever. They're already going to have access to creatures that they probably shouldn't have. Like Sirenade. Which can mind control people, basically. Alright, I'm finding little gaps in the coloring that I forgot earlier.
Kohate says,
It's bugging me.
it'll be fine, sweat.
Sure it will, sure it will. Nobody would ever abuse an exploit in the system.
Solo the Nerd says, balance of powers / in-game checks and balances.
That whole, like, concept of players can do whatever they want that you got going on in TTRPGs is kind of, like, really affected how the world building comes out in this. I've started saying that in a TTRPG, world building and game design are the same thing, basically. Because whatever rules you put into your setting are rules that the players can use and exploit. At least they should be able to. Because what's the point of having your setting be a certain way if your players can't interact with it for their own advantage? So I've actually been trying to develop mechanics that kind of work with that to kind of encourage that interplay. Because I also feel like even though you don't really need mechanics to roleplay things, it encourages you to do it.
Solo the Nerd says,
when there are mechanical
it's
benefits.
Like the rules for genies, certain wishes just cannot be granted.
Right, right. Like the whole concept of creature essence kind of came from rules interactions itself. Because I wanted the game to be set up in a way that, like, being reduced to 0 hit points doesn't necessarily mean you die. But then, if I were to go through with that, for the creatures, then you could literally just, like, beat a creature in a battle, and while it's knocked out, instead of killing it, you just bind it while it's unconscious, and that would be way too easy. So I decided that instead of doing that, like, it works that way for humans, but creatures are unstable and they dissolve into essence when they reach 0 hit points. And of course that's useful for the crafting system, which is where I took that. And that's also where the concept of sub-creatures came about, because I was like, well, if all the creatures dissolve into toxic magical goo, how do they get their protein? And also, people probably don't want to eat the cute magical creatures anyways. I know there's some people who would. Some people would eat a Pikachu. But I'd say that's not the usual take on that.
Solo the Nerd says, would the essence be able to return to the crystal, or would it just become a pile of in-game resources? Kohate says, yeah, me.
Of course you would.
Kohate says, I want to eat a Kingdra so bad, man.
A Kingdra? That's awfully, that's an interesting one. So, would the essence be able to return to the crystal? Bound creatures reform into a crystal when they're defeated. So, like, this shit here, if it's got a creature in it, like, that is literally its body. The crystal shatters, and the pieces reform into the shape of the creature when it's summoned. So when a bound creature dies, it just reconfigures back into the crystal. And then you have to heal it with meditation in your astral pocket. And that's also just from a gameplay reasoning, because I didn't want everybody to lose their freaking creatures every single time they get knocked out in combat. Because that would get real freaking annoying. And that also means, like, I can crank the difficulty of, like, regular encounters without having to worry about characters losing, like, important resources too much. If you look at some of the stuff I got going on in the solo campaign, it's like pretty apparent that the battles can get pretty rough, even if they're not like specifically made to be so. I kind of like that idea. I just don't want to punish players too hard for getting things knocked out in combat, because it's supposed to happen quite often. That's where the affinity and enmity mechanics come in. One of the ways you're gonna rack up enmity with your creatures is if they keep getting knocked out in combat. It's all about resource management.
Stream Elements says, "Good evening, mortal humans, make sure you subscribe to Dicebag and say hello." Solo the Nerd says, "That mechanic is a good way to prevent players from rage quitting so often."
Yeah, no, it would be hell if like you're playing some monster collecting game and every single time one of your monsters died, you lost it permanently. Like, I know some people like their Nuzlocke challenges, but it's not the standard for a reason. I really like the design I came up with for the freaking tribal girls. I like their super thick hair. Very nice.
Solo the Nerd says, "Next Pokemon element tangent, would there be a creature professor?"
The creature professor is this guy's dad. Lucas Lork, there's your creature professor. Archmage of the League of Magi. So if you're a character who really wants to study Pokemon and their or study creatures in their natural habitat and complete their creature codex, League of Magi is where it's at. And they're also kind of modeled after the Pokemon, the standard Pokemon experience, with their starting creatures and whatnot.
Solo the Nerd says. I would probably join that group then. I'm a guy who likes to 100% game collectibles.
That's one of the things I was actually thinking about recently, is like ways to give organizations like the benefits of joining organizations and stuff. Now I was thinking the League of Magi could give you like a creature codex that gives you bonuses on rolls to like identify creatures and get information about them, and then like as you go into other regions you could spend like experience to expand them with new with creatures from the new region. Also, I've been working on a reputation kind of mechanic that's basically a resource or a currency that you can spend for like social benefits, like advancement in a in an organization you're part of. That way we don't need to have like specific laid out criteria. Can kind of abstract that part of it and just say, okay, you've done enough for the you've got enough recognition from the organization that they'll let you advance in rank. And then the player has like a lot of control over that just because it's a game mechanic. And like I was saying earlier, turning role-playing opportunities into game mechanics, I feel like encourages you to engage with the role-playing side of things a little more, or at least the world-building side of things. Alright, let's see. We have to think about how shadows are being cast here.
Solo the Nerd says. I'm guessing that gold pieces would be one of the basic currencies in this world.
I actually try to keep the currency abstract. So everything is kind of valued as a generic cash value. Reasoning being that like if society is like coming out of a dark age in the creatures world, they're probably not going to have like central governments minting specific types of currency. So everything would be basically down to a barter system. So they might have coins and whatnot, but the coins would be specifically valued for like their precious metal content. But one of the things I want to do with like treasure and stuff is to make it so the players don't really know exactly how much they've got in terms of value until they really can kind of sit down and kind of appraise it all. Maybe people could do that kind of on the fly if they're good at it, which might lead to some actual skills or abilities that you can pick up to do so. That also allows you to kind of make sure that stuff like art objects or jewelry that you loot from some kind of ruin would be how do I put this? Interesting? I don't know. The point is, I'm trying to gamify everything.
I cannot get enough of this psychic. It just makes me so happy when I see it on screen.
Hey, he's a cutie. Let's see. I've lost my actual color here because I changed it from what the swatch was. I need to switch that. Switch the swatch. There we go. The coloring was slightly off and it was bothering me. You probably couldn't tell on the actual stream, but trust me, it was different. Alright, so this arm would be casting a shadow probably like so. My headphones are starting to make my ears itch. I don't know why that dot is there, but it's not anymore. Okay, hold on. Not that one.
Solo the Nerd says. The evolution costs are slightly confusing to me as a system. I understand the affinity, but not the essence.
Essence is just, they have to consume that much essence. They literally eat it. Essence fuels metamorphosis. And probably level gaining, actually. I've been thinking about that one. I think we might move away from like an experience system for creature advancement and just make it pure, like, feed them the essence of other creatures to make them stronger. That way their advancement is kind of tied directly to combat. which is where you're mostly going to be using them. Then they all have a class level requirement, so you can't just take a completely fresh one straight out of the egg and be like, yes, we're going to feed you essence until you become the top metamorphosis as a baby.
Solo the Nerd says. How could creatures use their powers out of combat?
That kind of depends on what features they have. But the class powers are specifically made for the combat situation. They're supposed to be pretty limited because of that. You kind of want to think of all the class powers that creatures have as kind of like inherently magical on some extent. So they're not necessarily things that stick and change the world persistently. Alright, am I ready for the second pass on the shadows? I think so. Remind me to go back later and like tweak the coloring on these red parts though. We need to shift those to a more bluish color so the shadows stand out a little better. Okay, buddy, you get the deep shadows first.
Solo the Nerd says. I can try to remind you. My parents like to call me their human PDA. Spaced it out to try and get it said right.
He did say it right this time. Let's see. There's some over here. Haven't heard of PDAs in a while. Kind of been replaced by phones. Alright, I think that's all I can really do on her.
Solo the Nerd says. Technically, it might be PDAR equals persistent, determined, and annoying reminder.
No. This guy kind of looks suspicious of the psychic, and I think that's very in character for Tribesfolk. That's going a little faster than I actually expected it. Perhaps we'll actually finish it tonight. I wouldn't expect it though. I would not expect it.
Solo the Nerd says. I saw that psychic are telepathic. It's probably saying, how can you not twist this face? I'm just a whittle baby.
I always imagine that creatures, when they're communicating with humans, don't actually communicate in like human speech. So the guy's literally just hearing if it's trying to telepathy him. And he would just understand what it means.
Solo the Nerd says. Those are just the vibes I'm getting. Solo the Nerd says. I watched too much Pokemon over the decades and just kept thinking of Meowth.
You know what? Addendum to that little nugget. I've actually got it written down somewhere that mythic creatures sometimes speak to their conjurers in like human speech, but only during like when they're doling out like esoteric information to their conjurers in the astral pocket. Because I think that would make an interesting little scene. Where some mythic conjurer is hanging out in his astral pocket with the mythic creature, and it comes over and like starts doling out prophecies in English, and then just goes back to its normal way of speaking. Solo the Nerd says. Sounds complicated to roleplay, interesting from a storytelling aspect though. Just a way to kind of make the mythic creatures more mysterious and cool. Alright, I think we've got enough grain on the table there. You know what? We need more depth in the hairs.
Stream Elements says, "Good evening, mortal humans. Make sure you subscribe to Dicebag and say hello."
That's right. Do we have any lurkers? I haven't really checked on the numbers the entire time I've been streaming. I don't know. Doesn't look like there's a huge number of lurkers hanging out this time around. You know what? I think it's time to head on to the highlights here. So let's get us an overlay layer.
Solo the Nerd says, "Might jinx this, but with no Ponyboy, this stream has been nice and chill-laxing."
It has been chill, but I don't know if that's a good thing. Ponyboy is at least entertaining. Gotta think about it from, like, what's the point of view of the average ADD YouTube viewer or stream viewer? Maybe they're just not my target audience. Can't even see those strokes. Why do I even bother?
Solo the Nerd says, "My D&D group's next meeting, if on schedule, will have session number 4 on January 4th.
January 4th? Okay. I'm gonna be having like the next 2 weeks off of work. Hopefully I can stay on task and like actually get some stuff done. Maybe I'll do an extra stream here and there. Probably not for art, though. I want to stream Path of Exile because I've been playing that a lot. Or excuse me, Path of Exile 2.
Stream Elements says, Hail Evergrade Artistry and welcome to 5 Raiders.
Evergrade!
Solo the Nerd says,
How's
I'll
it
try
going?
to make sure that I can give you good clip notes of our game. Like how I'm doing so for my brother.
Alright, thanks for the raid, Evergrade. Hello, Raiders, how are you guys doing?
Dinsdale Piranha says, Woot woot.
Woot woot. Hello, Dinsdale. What do you guys think? We got some creature conjurers trading with some tribes folk here.
Ponyboy Horse says,
Oh no.
I bet you missed me.
There he is. You did jinx it, Solo. You did jinx it.
Dinsdale Piranha says, looks good. Need more kitty cat. Kohate says, you gotta put Subway Surfers up in the top right corner. Kohate says,
Oh hey, Evergrade's
Speak of the
rating on
devil.
Rumble too. Welcome, guys. Andy's joining the chat. Hey, Evergrade.
Solo the Nerd says,
How's it
still
going?
worth it.
Going alright. Let me go ahead and pause Geronimo if you're gonna pop into the chat.
Sure. Not sure how long I'll be
Ponyboy
in, but I
Horse
wanted to
says,
say hi. Oh, it looks like you've got some nerds coming in from your raid. I wonder how that happened.
We got a few nerds. We were just talking about Ponyboy because he likes to say things and it was kind of quiet without him.
Ponyboy does say a lot of things. Whether or not
Ponyboy
he'll
has a
regret
lot
it in
to
the
say.
future. How are you doing today, Dice Bag?
We're doing alright. Just
Nice.
getting some stuff done for lore videos in the future.
That's nice. I've been pretty busy and tired recently.
What have
So
you
it's
been
been
up
hard.
to?
I'll be honest, I've just been trying to focus on art and some writing, but it's mainly just been some fan fiction for fun.
Ah,
I'm getting back into things though. I also actually I'm also feeling good because I finally got to one of the games I've been looking to play for a while, Pokemon Snap.
oh yeah.
Believe it or not, I was an N64 kid, but that was one of the games that I managed to miss out on.
Wow. Pokemon Snap was like the only reason I wanted an N64, but I never got one. Then I saw somebody play it at one point, and I was like, oh, it's on rails? It's not like you actually get to go on a safari or anything?
It is exactly.
That's lame. Lame.
It's fun. It's fun the way Star Fox is fun. There's actually a lot of really interesting animations, but you have to poke around for them and it's easy to miss. I was having a lot of fun and sometimes getting equally frustrated when I just couldn't line up a shot, especially at first because it does that thing some games do where the default is the inverted camera controls. Like you go up, the camera goes down, go down, camera goes up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are some clever interactions, like one thing this is probably a commonly known one. One thing you can do if you manage to throw an apple at a Charmeleon at the right angle, you can have it fall into a pit of lava and it'll evolve into Charizard.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
And if you throw an apple at the Charizard, it'll try to burn you alive.
That's cool.
Yeah.
A Ponyboy is out here accusing me of taking his voice away. You don't
You
have
never
a
had
voice, you have Geronimo. Geronimo is the voice.
He has text. That's more voice than he needs.
This is true. He can't behave himself.
He's a sad lad.
Just a communist fetishist.
This is the end game of tomboy addiction. Yeah, the N64 didn't have a lot of games, but it had some very good ones. Next one. Also, my most pleasant surprise with the game was that, while sometimes getting certain points could be a little obtuse, just because the rating system can be a little wonky, it rates you on how close you are. The pose a Pokemon has, which you can manipulate in certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get them in the center of the picture. My most pleasant surprise was that getting to the final stage wasn't nearly as aggravating as I assumed. Because I thought you had to score really high and capture all the Pokemon. But no, it's just a case of getting through all the secret levels, opening the special paths, which sometimes could be a little tricky depending on how you handle it, and just taking pictures of landmarks that are shaped like Pokemon.
Did you use a walkthrough?
I actually didn't, surprisingly. I was ready to because I had to use it when I played Star Fox on the 3DS because some of the ways to get to certain paths was a little hard to do. And I swear, at least one or two of them, you had to score below a certain threshold, and I was just too good at the game to do that naturally.
Solo, you don't need to tell Ponyboy about the Muscle Girl Next Door manga.
Oh, was that the one? Was that the one that Dale posted about in the stream chat?
Shh.
I mean, that Dale didn't post in the stream chat.
That's okay. Ponyboy is not one of the artistic savants yet.
Yeah, I'm asking because Dale does bring up a point I like. Part of Muscular Woman. The problem is a lot of people are bad at finding a balance between muscles and still looking feminine. So overall, I can kind of do without them because people just mishandle them pretty badly.
Yeah, the picture Dale showed me does look kind of manly. But I hear that's what Ponyboy's into. He likes the manly chicks.
Of course.
He wants the chicks to look like his bros.
Of course. He's trying to brainwash
weirdo.
everyone into thinking tomboys are gay. Well, it's just, unfortunately for him, only Ponyboy is gay. Our favorite gay communist.
He's a fetishist now.
Oh, not just a fetishist, a fetishist.
A fetishist.
He would be.
Geronimo enlightened us to that.
Ponyboy Horse says, why choose bros over hoes when you can get both? He's not helping his case.
Let's see. What else do I need to put on this?
Let's have a look-see.
I'm just seeing chats fly in from on the screen from a corner of my eye over there, and I know it's Ponyboy.
Yeah, you can just read it. He he coined the term fapitalist.
Fapitalist? I haven't heard this one.
I'm pretty sure it's new and that he made it. Because he was the first one who enlightened me to it. As you would expect of Ponyboy.
As he is wont to do.
humanist, fetishist, nothing will stop him. Is that what the binding crystals look like?
Yeah. At least it's supposed to be. They're, it's kind of hard to draw them consistently sometimes.
That's just the problem with like shapes like that. You try at different angles and they come out. They're just a little different than you want them to be every time. I can see the columns be like, I think you can get a kind of a consistent pattern for the columns, but when it comes to like the way it spikes out at the top, it's feels hard to do right.
Yeah.
Spikes in general at different angles can be kind of weird to do.
Always.
Especially if you're trying to do it up front, you really have to take advantage of the lighting to emphasize that it's pointed in the center. Maybe have a little dot in the middle.
Let's see.
So far, other than the eyes, they're looking pretty good. Unless you want to put some extra lighting on the skin.
We could use some over here.
By the way, are they talking about what they're going to do before going on an expedition?
They're trading with some tribesfolk.
How's it going?
I don't know, she looks like she's into something.
Are the tribesfolk natives to this region?
Yeah.
Okay. And on the left, they're the newcomers.
They are the settlers. Let's see. I think that's about all I need to do for the highlights.
Alrighty.
Now's the tedious part. We get to soften the edges.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the background.
Oh no, we're not there yet.
The other tedious part.
Speaking of, I might not actually get this done today. Thinking about the background.
You think you're going to get something done, you think about the background. You know, I deserve a break. Backgrounds are hard, just keeping everything in order. I find it, if I get around to them, the hardest part is just filling it up with things.
Yeah, you kind of have to be a little creative with backgrounds.
Yeah, obviously you want to make everything right, but trying to put everything in naturally, or like you have enough space that you fill in the details, but make sure it doesn't take things over. But you also don't want it to be completely blank.
Yeah. A part of the trick is to keep your color palette limited.
Yeah, I think you can probably, like, if you're not making it the main focus, I can see you. Well, something I should probably do. Just have some background details, but try to find a balance between having just enough details so that you can tell where characters are when you want to give the details, but not so much that you're killing yourself every time you go into them, unless it's really necessary. Here and there.
Solos asks, can players actually be creatures? I'd love to play as a psychic. Not really, but if you have a psychic, you're basically in control of it.
Yeah. I remember when I played, the creatures, they'd either you pretty much control. It is like Pokemon. Like you're running around as a character, but in battle, essentially you are the creature. You're just commanding them. Or out of combat, they can help you augment certain tasks. Like, can't remember.
Like if they can teleport or if they can fly or something like that, they can help you out.
Yeah, with things like scouting, it's actually really useful to delegate tasks to them. Remind me, Dice. So can you have your character do one thing and your creature do another task, or is it mainly assisting you with specific tasks?
I mean, they can act independently. They don't need you to be there helping them all the time.
Okay, so
Like when you played last time, you guys had what was it, like Psykit or Cheapy, I think, head down into a basement in the dark to check it out before anybody else went.
I can't remember my creature's name. They both went down there. Psychic was good. My creature kind of made a mess and alerted the enemy slop eye.
Right.
Yeah, having them help out and making sure they spearhead an attack, so you're still safe to fight.
Yeah. Also, hello Sledge. How's it going?
Sledge is here. Oh wait, Ponyboy has a good question. When are we getting a short-haired tomboy?
Oh, that question? The same question he asks every time?
Oh, I haven't been around. I see Ponyboy's been busy.
Ponyboy's been around.
I feel like it's not a question of if, but when.
They are not a priority, I'll tell you that. As I've told Ponyboy before, we have several tomboys already. They just have long hair, as they should.
Sorry there, Buckaroo, but that's not a tomboy hairstyle. Make a short hair tomboy or a riot. I'm sure he'll find a reason to riot anyway. Sledge says I should be working on VA right now. I'll have to in the morning. Yeah, I've been slacking on things myself. Evergrey gets it. Yes, I understand your character far too well, Ponyboy. Much to my detriment.
Solo says if Ponyboy wants that, he should learn to draw and make his own. Apparently Ponyboy has been drawing. But yeah, he could just make his own creature character. We have character creation rules up on the website. Why don't you take the initiative, Ponyboy, and make a character that's a short-haired tomboy?
Sledge says he does pixel art. It's not just pixel art. I remember he made one for me. He was doing a bunch of squibbies for different people. You know that little emote of a cartoon version of someone.
Oh yeah.
Wishing up and down.
I think he mentioned that last time.
Yeah, he's been doing a bunch of them. He made one for me. He made one for Comfy. He made one for Kit. He made one for his OC shirt. Yep, there they are. Give me 1 second. Gotta post a Soy Jack meme.
Of course, as is customary.
There we go. Perfect. Soy Jack posted, all is right with the world.
The universal response post to Shoyjack.
Nice argument. Unfortunately for you, I just posted a Soy Jack in response to response to your well-detailed comment. The second
You
most
have been depicted as a soyjack now.
and I've depicted myself as a chisel-chinned Chad.
Alright, I'm just gonna take a quick pass over all the grain with the eraser here to kind of soften it up.
Would you say that you're going against the grain?
No, I'm actually going with the grain.
I can't believe I can't believe Dice Bag is conforming.
Oh no.
He's turning creatures into a MOBA gacha game.
It's gonna
It'll
be
never
for
be-
modern audiences.
It'll never be balanced again.
Creature Gotcha game would be great, by the way,
It would
if I do say so myself.
kind of get. It would probably do well. I'm just kind of sick of gacha elements.
Well, here's the thing. I'd do it in a way that doesn't suck.
I assume cosmetics heavy kind of thing.
You know what? It'd take too long to explain my thought process. It'd basically just be the tabletop game, honestly. Except instead of making your own character, you'd collect creatures' characters.
That sounds good.
And then you get the actual creatures by going on adventures with them and sending them out to explore things.
Okay, so it's just creatures.
It's just creatures, but it's on mobile.
Sounds pretty good.
What do we think? Would that make $1 million? No monetization plan.
You're reminding me of this one game Nintendo published on mobile, Dragalia Lost. It was eventually shut down, and one of the reasons cited for it was because it was too generous. I didn't really stick with the game, but just hearing that makes me upset.
That's a thing to brainstorm, though. How do you make a good gacha game that would actually make money and not suck?
I don't like it in general, but I have heard. I think it was this one gacha Arknights. Maybe you've told me about it. I remember it's mainly described as being very cosmetics heavy when it comes to the monetization, so you can go through the game without worrying about it too much. But yeah, I think some things I don't like about gacha, like, the games really love to kneecap your progression so hard at certain points.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, like, progression is the only part that's actually fun about the games.
Yeah, I really don't think even some really bad AAA games will block you off so hard on the main point of the title. Also,
you might be thinking of Azur Lane with the one you were talking about earlier. That's the one I used to play quite a bit.
Maybe. Azur Lane, I remember Arknights was pretty popular, but I'll be honest, the post-apocalyptic settings of cute girls manipulated by evil governments and fighting faceless threats unless it's other cute girls really blends together.
Yeah, I can't tell a lot of gacha games apart.
Yeah. And those trends are so oddly specific. I assume that that people who play gacha games really like them, because I can't really think of it. Or maybe they're just gacha games just kind of sponging off of each other.
A lot of them are like Chinese knockoffs of successful things.
Yeah. Man, remember that time China helped ruin gaming and they swooped in to save it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
As Solo says, my group has a Discord and is still looking for more players. Either of you interested? Just asking.
I'll have to politely decline. I'm very busy with everything right now, and I'm not the best. Oh, I don't have time for another like RP group. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you,
Same.
it's not really that I want to join. It's just I'm not really the best RPer. I like it, but I don't love it like a lot of people. Part of the fun is being able to hang out with friends. Not that I'm saying I wouldn't like it, but I'm not as I have fun with it, but I think there are players who are much more engaged with the tabletop side of things.
Okay, Ponyboy, I see you saying hello, but we don't have Geronimo, so that's a shame.
Wasn't he just getting through complaining about how he lost his voice? Seems to be talking quite a bit for that.
Oh, but you see, the normal thing is that Geronimo has a Stream Elements notification that he says that prompts people to say hello and subscribe. And every single time it happens, he types out hello in some way that will make Geronimo spaz out.
Oh,
but Geronimo's not on right now. Geronimo's taking a break, so he can't do it. Oh,
from Geronimo to Geroffamo.
Poor Ponyboy, he can't abuse Geronimo.
Leave Geronimo alone! He's a good robot that isn't afraid of anything.
"1984," he says, of course. Of course, everything's 1984. No short-haired tomboy, 1984. No TTS in chat, 1984.
Something, literally 1984.
I have been thinking about getting a play-by-post game together for creatures at some point.
Play-by-post?
Play-by-post. Where you play an RPG, but instead of, like, being all around a table or whatever, or virtual tabletop or whatever, you, take your turns in, like, a forum or a group chat or something.
So, like, text-based?
Yeah, like text-based. That way people can just kind of play it like whenever they have a minute, they can just go in and say what they do with their turns.
Alright.
Seems like a way to keep a game going.
when things are yeah. When things are yeah, just to keep something going on the side while people are doing it in between big sessions.
I still got some more work I need to do with fleshing out some of the mechanics I've been working on, though, before I try anything like that.
One step at a time. Progress is progress.
Until then, I got the solo campaign going on.
I need to catch up on that. I'm just so busy with everything.
It's a busy time of year.
Yeah, in particular, still got to do some Christmas setup.
Now, I probably won't be able to put out a solo campaign episode this week or this next week just because Christmas.
Yeah.
Let's see, Solo says would be up to try, it might be awkward in terms of character roleplay. You kinda have to, like, lay out some ground rules about how you do things in play-by-post. Like, I'd probably want to shoot for, like, a post a day from everybody. And then, like, everybody has a turn to take something or do something. But Creatures is probably set up for that pretty well, actually, because I've got, like, turn structures for everything. It's not all up on the website yet, but I've been developing, like, turn structures for days passing by and for exploring the world around you, the environment.
Okay.
So once that's all, like, written up, probably would be a useful structure for doing a play-by-post.
Right, that would fit since it would. Well, you're adapting Creature's normal gameplay to how to post. Sounds simple enough.
Oh yeah, the Wow Wow Wibble Woggle Wazzy Woodle Woo sing-along. I forgot about that one. I have to find a time for that too.
Oh, of course, that.
That, you know, the Wow Wow Wibble Woggle Wazzy Woodle Woo.
Yeah, the thing with the thing.
I went through and subtitled the entire little movie with all the lyrics.
I really have to catch up.
Well, that's not anywhere yet. I've just done that for later. Because I want to do a watch-along / sing-along. But I don't remember all the lyrics off the top of my head.
Well, it sounds like you know what you need to do next. Recite the lyrics for the sacred song until you know them by heart.
Oh, if I only knew, if I only had a clue about the wow wow wibble woggle wazzy woodle woo. But that's only one song. There's too many songs for me to remember them all.
What is this song from?
In Search of the Wow Wow Wibble Woggle Wazzy Woodle Woo.
I see.
You know.
I'm looking this up. Oh my gosh, what am I looking at?
You're looking at Peak.
Oh, I guess I never knew what peak was until now.
It's like basically a stage play for kids, children's kind of stage play, but I had it on VHS, and it's like one dude
It's
Who's-
just one dude putting on a show.
One dude playing the role of a young boy. So he's dressed like a 80s kid. And also all the furniture in his bedroom is like oversized and looks like it's made of cardboard or something. And he does a whole musical about finding the Wow Wow Wibblewoggle Wazzy Woodle Woo.
Gotcha.
And I will not tell you what the Wow Wow Wibblewoggle Wazzy Woodle Woo is, because that's a spoiler.
I'm sure I could never guess.
Probably not. And yes, that is Peak. What you posted in the Discord, that's Musty Moldy Melvin, by the way.
Of course. How could I not know Musty Moldy Melvin?
That's Musty Moldy Melvin, and you should meet his friend Greasy Grimy Gertie.
I don't think I should meet them. Greasy Grimy Gertie. She doesn't sound very copacetic.
They danced all night in the gurgly gloppy goo, you know.
Oh.
It's legit got some fun music in it, though.
Ponyboy Hearst says that is some Kumi gobbledygook, spoken like a true subversive communist.
Ponyboy, you wouldn't know Peak if it was a tomboy with short hair, because that's not Peak.
Okay, I'm just gonna send him something without context.
Do it. Send him Musty Moldy Melvin, see what he thinks.
Just gonna tell him FYI, Ponyboy. Boy, this is Peak. As I'm told. I'm pretty sure he's gonna think I'm trying to put a curse on him.
It's not a curse, it's a blessing. Been blessed by knowledge of the Wow Wow Wibblewoggle Wazzy Woodle Woo.
Ponyboy Horse says it is Peak? Yeah, it is Peak. I'm glad he agrees.
I love coloring line art, by the way, I just love it.
It's very pleasing. It's that one job that no one really notices, but you know they silently appreciate.
I think nobody appreciates it. But they notice when it's not there.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations. Solo says that show sounds like the best Dr. Seuss homage ever. It is kinda Dr. Seuss-esque.
Ponyboy says that creature is cringe.
Don't you say that about Musty Moldy Melvin.
You're cringe!
Ah, yes, finally. I think everything's
Coming together?
done as far as the line art goes. Not done completely, because nothing's ever done completely.
It's nothing is ever complete. You just have to cut yourself off at some point.
Can't be no perfectionist.
Perfection is the enemy of completion.
Yes.
A lot of weak energy in that statement, but I can understand where it's coming from.
Alright, what do I need next? Eyes? Faces? Face details, perhaps? Perhaps.
Possibly.
That could be a thing that needs to happen.
It's a possibility that may exist at some point in time. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I actually picked up Deep Rock Galactic when it was on sale.
Oh, did you?
I did,
I was just shaming Kohet for not liking that game.
I'm gonna find out if I'll get shamed for it. It looks really fun, I will say.
It's pretty fun. I think some people just get turned off because it gets very difficult at higher difficulty levels and people are really hardcore about it. I usually play it like kind of middle difficulties because I don't like to stress. Maybe we can get you in during my 2 weeks of freaking vacation, and we can play it together or something.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me. I think
Next week is gonna be pretty packed, but the week after that, I've got like nothing happening. So maybe maybe I'll do like the Wow Wow Wibble Woggle Wazzy Woodaloo sing along that week, and maybe a Deep Rock Galactic stream or something. Then there's also Path of Exile 2. I have been playing that, but I haven't streamed it.
Is that out officially, or is it just the beta?
You know what? I think it's early access at this point.
That's why I'm not sure, because I was pretty sure... Is Path of Exile supposed to be free to play, or is it just going to be paid mainly?
The first one was free to play, but I'm not sure if they're gonna do that with the second one. Because I think the current state, it has like a price tag of like $30 or something.
That's what I heard. I just wasn't sure if that was just going to be for early access or if they were going to switch gears.
I'm not entirely sure. Why does this art style remind me of Dragon Ball Z? Asked Solo.
I think it's the outfits.
Maybe. There's probably some subconscious influence because I watched an assload of Dragon Ball Z when I was younger.
I too watched quite a bit of the DBZ. I stopped after GT, mainly because I think there were probably movies, but there wasn't anything else as a main series except for Super, which I missed out on.
Super was alright.
Hmm. Not really eager to jump into it. I've got a bunch of other stuff to look into.
Hmm.
Mainly retro stuff. I haven't had
Of
a lot of new.
course.
Haven't had a lot of new. Are you trying to imply something, Dice Bag?
It's always retro stuff with you.
Well, retro stuff is less likely to be fake and gay than modern stuff.
Maybe.
I said less likely.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Also, I've just got a lot of old stuff I need to play, including plenty of classics that I really have no business not having missed out on.
I too have many games I haven't played, but they're all from Steam sales.
Oh no, I've got plenty of those too. I'm thinking about it, and since I've got plenty of games to play, and it's been a while since I played a Metroidvania, I may play a recent game I got from a recommendation. Void Rot. That looks like an interesting... It's an interesting looking, like, Metroidvania title.
Void Rot? Is that what you said?
Yeah. I think something really heavily inspired by Hollow Knight.
Hmm.
I'm always a little antsy about playing indie games too, but they are more likely to stay the course, to stay focused on just being good games.
Yeah, I don't play practically any games from big studios these days.
Yeah, there's just not a lot. There's just not a ton of stuff that interests me right now. Oh, some stuff from Nintendo, but they're not. A lot of them aren't quite big games. There's a few though. I still need to play Breath of the Wild. That's a 5-year-old game. And Tears of the Kingdom, I think that's like 2 years old now.
Nah, you don't need to play those.
I want to. I had fun with it. It's just I'm not exactly sure how I'll be able to work out a good routine for keeping up with open world games. Just because it's really big.
Yeah. That's always a struggle.
Yeah. Also, this is a big problem with open world games. It's like the same as complaining about grinding in an RPG. I consider it the futzing around in a mostly empty map genre. Like, there's only so much cool stuff and events and things you can fit into a massive sandbox. And I've come to really appreciate smaller, more focused titles that have a very clear goal. Because there's a beginning and an end. There's like a beginning and an end and a solid stopping point. I understand the appeal of the games that never end, games that have like endless gameplay loops and variations.
That's
like
my jam.
Well, I understand that. I mainly mean it. My main problem is like with multiplayer, where the game quality varies very hard with the players you deal with. And frankly, a lot of multiplayer stuff is either really badly balanced or has very, very, very bad matchmaking, to the point that I have a personal theory that it's designed that way intentionally to make sure people just keep replaying.
Also, yes, Solo, I saved my work. I am on the ball.
He saved
Thanks
his
for
work.
the reminder.
I bet he's even painting on the right layer.
I might be. You wouldn't know because that's off screen.
We'll find out, I'm sure. Wonder Boy says, if I give you $5, will you add a short-haired tomboy?
I don't do commissions, Pony Boy.
I feel like I'm eventually going to have a short-haired tomboy, but I need to be properly inspired. 1984, he says. This is how he responds when he realizes that money can't buy whatever he wants.
Yeah, Pony Boy, capitalism is an economic system, not a moral system.
The invisible hand of the market will happily slap you aside if you don't make ends meet.
That kind of money whimpers, not talks. That's true. $5 is like nothing.
Now, if it's $10, then there's a conversation. Communist Evergrade and Dice Bag confirms. Sounds like something a communist would say.
He's trying to subvert us.
Maybe the real communists were the friends we made along the way. Pony Boy.
I don't know about that.
Oh, Pony Boy is either way.
What about the fetishists, though? I don't know about that.
Oh, those aren't people.
Those aren't people? Okay. Those aren't people. We refer to them as feeple.
Precisely.
A coin I termed in Kohet's chat last night.
What is it? Communist and... Whatever says you are the fetishists. I can't believe the fetishist is calling us a fetishist. Well, they're really bad for the case of the pot calling the kettle black.
I don't know what you mean. That looks like fetishist to me.
Oh, you're right. Never mind.
According to the Geronimo school of pronunciation, that's fetishist.
Well, Geronimo is never wrong.
That's true.
I'm gonna look into my Steam library and see.
He's a robot after all. Robots are always right.
AI's always right. Just look at how they draw hands. Okay, I say AI, but I kind of talked about this before. It's just like LLRM, language learning model. It's just generating stuff from data it gathers, like photo bashing or putting sentences together.
Yeah.
I understand the appeal of doing that to quicken finding details, but you absolutely should not be using AI for any serious research. It still feels really unreliable.
I use it for brainstorming.
Yeah, I don't want to use it, but I can see using it as a springboard.
Tell Harry to stop using AI. Who's Harry?
Oh, that's balls are hairy.
Okay.
He uses AI a lot, mainly to troll Pony Boy. He uses AI to abuse my daughter. Ah, yes.
Oh.
The Shorb, of course.
Let's see, let me show you the thing I just did. on the stream before you came in. Let's see. There we go. I had AI generate a reference for me and it did pretty good.
Ed? I understand what you mean.
Now, looking at them back to back, I can see some improvements I should be making. I'm flipping back and forth on my second monitor over here. You guys can't see it. You can't see it.
I believe you. But if I was there, I'd be getting a seizure just because of how much you're flipping back and forth.
Ponyboy says my daughter is a good girl, so she doesn't take after her dad, I guess.
Are we sure he's really the dad? Maybe she's adopted.
I don't know. Love the stink eye my avatar gives Ponyboy. I've always got like perpetual stink eye in my freaking model, don't I?
I remember when I drew your avatar. I just settled on you glaring down. it was supposed to be you looking at the at like your book drawing really hard. But I guess that is kind of a default expression.
That's 90% of my streams is me looking like that.
Now you have context. It's you being disappointed in Ponyboy.
Yeah.
Ponyboy says, "No, I raised her right. I call doubt on that. I
Press
dare
X
say,
to doubt.
Ponyboy,
Press X to doubt.
X. I'm gonna say Ponyboy didn't raise her right. He raised her left."
Burn!
And this is you. Ponyboy, you are the reason Shorb exists. And that's not gonna change. Now, I'm gonna look at my library to see what games they have. It's very easy to forget. And just okay, here, library. Oh yeah, there's a lot.
Okay. These eyes are kind of getting on my nerves. They don't quite look right. Oh well.
Like it?
Yeah.
No shine on the eyes. Maybe that's it.
They're not done yet.
You were just saying saying they didn't look right. I thought you were trying to figure it out.
They don't look right, like they're looking in the wrong direction or something.
Or they're looking up. They're looking up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Ching. Shiny.
Let's give him a little shine on there. Let's see. It's 11:27 now. Looking at the piece as it is, I think I'm gonna have more to do than I can do for the night. This might be a good stopping point.
Yeah, I was actually gonna head off myself. It's looking good. It's looking very good so far.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put on the background, but then do all the highlights on the rim lights and whatnot, and that always takes way more time than it should.
Yeah, just to give your eyes a break. Gonzo told me about this, but I can't remember the name. I might have mentioned it. That effect where the longer you stare at something, the less you can register all the details.
Yeah, I mean, that's just... You know what? There's one more thing. I said I was going to do this earlier, and I need to take the red areas and color correct the shadows on them.
Oh, I see.
Because right now we got kind of purpley shadows on the red areas, and it doesn't make the shadows stand out very well.
Gotcha. We're pure magic, man.
Let's see.
It's like
Alright.
great cover art for your game.
Let's take this and we'll make it more blue. We'll just make a pass over this whole thing. There we go. Then we get the secondary shadows. And give them a pass with the blue. And there we go.
Alright.
I better make a swatch of that too.
Yeah.
Looks like great cover art for the game. This one's gonna be in part of one of the major lore videos on the world of creatures.
Or can someone
Like some of the other ones.
World of Creatures dice bag?
Say what?
Or can someone watch this World of Creatures?
Well, it's not on a DVD or VHS yet, so you'll have to go to www.creatures.com, actual website, or the YouTube channel, or the Rumble channel, Dicebag Games, or Creatures RPG. At Creatures RPG, and that's where you find it all. That's where everything is. Shameless plug time. I should have been doing that the whole time. It's not shameless when it's my own stuff in my own stream about this stuff.
Nice. I think that's the best time to be. It is shameless.
I think that's the peak time for it to be said.
Yeah.
So yeah. There we have
time
it.
to be shameless.
No shame whatsoever. We're marketing today. Sign up for my newsletter, and you'll get a whole lot of nothing because I don't have a lead magnet on it. But you'll get the newsletter.
Get the newsletter. There'll eventually be some updates, mainly. Maybe.
There's updates twice a month. I put out an art dump in the middle of the month, and then a development update at the end of the month. Assuming I remember to do them, and they might end up getting the development update at the beginning of the month.
Possibly.
Well, yeah. Let's wrap it all up here. Let's see. Do we have raidability or anything going on here? Let's see
why
what...
not?
Well, the question is, like, how do we have enough people to bother with it?
I see 3 people on Twitch.
3 people on Twitch, 2 on Rumble. I think I counted in those numbers as well.
Probably.
All right. I think we'll just leave it as is today. You guys can find something else to watch on your own.
All right.
Now where the... Oh yeah. I've moved things around a bunch, so I'm having trouble finding where everything is on my screens. But yeah, that'll be it. I'll see you guys later. Maybe next week. Actually, more plugs. Christmas karaoke stream. 23rd, Monday. Also, I'll be hanging out with another dude on Rumble, 26th. I'll probably mention that on Twitter. And then Big Gardic phone collab next Saturday. Yeah. With a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And then who knows what after that. Anyways. Yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye.